In the following 10 days, the theory of severing the golden lotus to advance to the 9-leaf stage spread further throughout the cultivation world. After a period of debate and argument, the number of skeptics grew. The skeptics believed that severing the golden lotus was a complete hoax. The basis for their judgment was that in the past 10 days, 10 cultivators had died because of severing the golden lotus, with not a single survivor. The proponents insisted that the deaths of these individuals were because they were already on the verge of death. Severing the golden lotus and suffering a severe blow simply accelerated their demise and was not a worthy reference. Both sides held their ground, arguing endlessly. Regardless of the debate, the method of severing the golden lotus had already spread throughout the entire Great Flame. Many cultivators even developed more advanced theories based on severing the golden lotus, such as severing the golden lotus before sprouting a leaf, the avatar-shattering method, and the golden lotus abandonment method. It was pitch black beneath the fragrant splendor tomb. Yu Shangrong had forgotten how long he had been in this dry well. Since I can sprout leaves without a golden lotus, I might as well get rid of it. From any perspective, the sword devil Yu Shangrong was a rare and powerful expert in the way of the sword in this world. Whether it was the northern desert's sword slave Wang Haichao, Qing province's top swordsman Wang Daozhan, or the western region's Lulan clan's sword emperor Yu Xingrong, all had died under his blade. There were many cultivators who loved the way of the sword, and countless who roamed the world with a sword, but very few could reach his status. He was crystal clear about every step of his advancement, knowing it like the back of his hand. He could feel the energy of his avatar expanding, growing taller, and getting larger. As more and more dense energy rings descended from above, the resonance of his avatar grew stronger. His state of mind was much calmer than when he first sprouted a leaf. Yu Shangrong was almost certain that he could reach the 8-leaf stage without a golden lotus. The rest was just a matter of time, with more energy nourishing it. With a loud bang, the avatar expanded outwards to a height of about 20 feet. When the avatar expanded, this small dry well naturally couldn't contain its volume, but fortunately, the avatar was formed from condensed energy, and whether it could produce destructive force depended on Yu Shangrong's choice. The energy was vented into the surrounding walls, and everything returned to normal. Yu Shangrong raised his palm, which was enveloped by primal qi, condensing the qi into astral energy. All the fragrant splendor grass had long since withered. How could it survive after being at the bottom of a dry well for so long? The short-lived people of the gentleman's kingdom had never given up their pursuit of longevity. Not in the past, and not now. There was a time when he scoffed at this pursuit. Birth, aging, sickness, and death are natural parts of life. One may not sleep for long before life, but one will surely sleep for a long time after death. Yu Shangrong once again summoned his 100 Tribulations Insight avatar. A miniature avatar floated before him, without a golden lotus under its feet. The 2 lotus leaves also proved that he had successfully stepped into the 2-leaf mystic soul tribulation realm of cultivation. It went rather smoothly. Sprouting the first leaf was a gamble, full of uncertainty, but this second leaf confirmed the feasibility of the cultivation method of severing the golden lotus. Longevity sword. Buzz. The longevity sword trembled in place a few times before becoming quiet again. Still a bit lacking. From now on, the time and difficulty required to sprout each subsequent leaf would increase exponentially. But for now, there was no other way to quickly improve his cultivation, so he could only continue to cultivate in this dry well. Second senior brother. A clear voice came from outside the mountain. 6th junior sister. Is it really you, second senior brother? 6th junior sister. This place is remote and far-flung. Why are you here? I am searching for the riding the yellow, circling the Great Flame. I traveled west from the northern desert to the northwest and heard from the local barbarians that Sorcerer Salt Mountain was here. Since you mentioned you were coming here last time, I came to take a look. I didn't expect you to really be here. Have you found the riding the yellow? It's not that easy. Second senior brother. I just sensed a fluctuation of primal energy here, similar to the aura when the green jade altar killed Zhan Yuanshan, but much weaker. What's going on? I severed my golden lotus and need to sprout leaves anew. Second senior brother. You severed your golden lotus? The golden lotus was tainted by witchcraft, so I had to sever it. So far, it's going rather smoothly. I'll get you out. Yi Tianxin unleashed her energy, and a tide of primal energy formed an astral seal, pushing towards Sorcerer Salt Mountain. I need to sprout leaves anew in the fragrant tomb. It's not safe to go out. Yu Shangrong had made too many powerful enemies in the cultivator world. If he were to go out, it would be dangerous. It was better to stay here, cultivate slowly, sprout leaves, and return to his peak. The entire cultivator world is now abuzz with the cultivation method of severing the golden lotus. Second senior brother. You were too hasty. The cultivation method of severing the golden lotus? I never told anyone about this method, so where did this so-called method come from? Then, Yi Tianxin recounted the sensationalized method of severing the golden lotus that was circulating in the cultivator world. Yu Shangrong was surprised to hear it. Severing the golden lotus can lead to the 9-leaf stage? It's true that I severed my golden lotus, but I never told anyone that this method could lead to the 9-leaf stage. Junior sister. Do not believe it. Perhaps a witchcraft cultivator sensed that he was still alive, made this judgment, and then spread rumors to see if one could survive after severing the golden lotus. Second senior brother. brother, how are you alright? It's a long story, better not to mention it. Since her second senior brother was unwilling to speak, she couldn't force him. Besides, she didn't have the courage to sever her own golden lotus. For the next 3 days, Yi Tianxin stayed near Sorcerer Salt Mountain, chatting with Yu Shangrong from time to time. Although Yu Shangrong's current cultivation was not as high as Yi Tianxin's, his insights and understanding were far superior. During these 3 days, Yi Tianxin humbly sought his guidance and benefited greatly. On the morning of the 4th day, Yi Tianxin planned to bid farewell to Yu Shangrong and continue her journey west. 6th junior sister, I have something I'd like to trouble you to take back to the evil sky pavilion. He raised a single palm, and an astral seal dragged the heavenly book unfolding out of the well. Yi Tianxin sensed it slightly, leaped into the air, and caught the heavenly book unfolding. Second senior brother, what is this? This belongs to master. I will find a way to deliver it to the evil sky pavilion. Second senior brother, you don't have to be so polite. Thank you for your guidance these past few days. His junior sister's appearance also served as a reminder to Yu Shangrong. Although Sorcerer Salt Mountain was remote, it didn't mean there were no hidden experts. The fluctuations caused by sprouting leaves could attract powerful cultivators. Yi Tianxin put away the heavenly book unfolding and flew south. She needed to return to the south first, and could continue her westward journey on the way. At this time, the cultivation theory of severing the golden lotus had not only spread throughout the Great Flame Cultivator world but also to the foreign tribes of the western frontier and northern frontier. The foreign tribes had always valued strength, and upon receiving this cultivation theory, the 12 kingdoms organized cultivators at the nascent divinity tribulation realm to begin experiments. In a certain post station in the Great Flame, a group of cultivators gathered to exchange news while sipping wine. You said that severing the golden lotus is a method to advance to the 9-leaf stage, just as the rumors say. But what do you mean by a pseudo 9-leaf? Of course it's a pseudo 9-leaf. How can an avatar without a golden lotus be a true avatar? However, after advancing to the 9-leaf stage, one might be able to recondense the golden lotus, and then they would become a true 9-leaf master. The question is, can one actually survive severing the golden lotus? There must be a solution. Many people would die even if they didn't sever their golden lotus. If it were you, you'd give it a try too, right? That makes sense. That makes sense. Brother, you are very knowledgeable. May I ask for your esteemed name? Esteemed name is too much. My surname is Ri. Brother Ri, your words are more enlightening than 10 years of study. Why does that sound a bit strange? Ming Shirin shook his head. You just mentioned that the 10 great righteous sects have regrouped and formed a demon-slaying alliance. Strictly speaking, there are only 7 great sects left. The Orthodox sect and the Heaven Sword sect have already been destroyed. What about the Clarity sect? Are the 7 great sects challenging the evil sky pavilion? Isn't that courting death? Putting aside the matter of the evil sky pavilion's great limit, these 7 great sects are not what they used to be. Think about it. How many times did the 10 great sects fail in their siege of Golden Court Mountain? There were 2 particularly disastrous failures. This time, they are bound to be extremely careful and cautious, and will make more thorough preparations. That makes sense. Not to mention anything else. Just 2 days ago, all the disciples of the Principled Forest School brought out their old ancestor. The sword demon Yu Shangrong killed their sect leader, Chang Jian, so the old ancestor, Chang Yin, had to step in, kill the young one, and the old one is bound to get involved. He's already got 1 foot in the grave. How can he fight the evil sky pavilion? I remember Chang Yan's cultivation had already declined, right? That was then. This is now. Do you know why no one dares to provoke the Principled Forest School even though it doesn't have a barrier? Isn't it because they're protected by a natural chasm? What's the use of a chasm? It's because the Principled Forest School possesses a large quantity of demonic origin elixir. The Principled Forest School isn't a major sect. The 10 great sects is just a joke. Where did they get demonic origin elixir? That I don't know. I just heard it through the grapevine. Do you know of any other sects in the Demon-Slaying Alliance? The rest are just some small, insignificant sections. The major sects are all busy researching the theory of severing the golden lotus. Thanks. Could you settle the bill? For the past few days, he had shared quite a bit of information with this Mr. Ri. Every day, Mr. Ri would talk about how powerful the 9 devils were, especially praising the Mr. Fourth, Ming Shirin, to the heavens. At first, it was interesting, but it got tiresome after a while. Having shared so much information, it wouldn't be too much to ask for a cup of tea in return, would it? Settle what? I should be thanked for not making you treat me to tea. He turned and left, leaving the crowd bewildered. Evergreen Palace. Lu Yen was in his study, practicing calligraphy as usual. With a flourish of his brush, 4 characters appeared on the paper: unify all races. Your Majesty, the results of the first batch of cultivators who attempted to sever the golden lotus are in. In this attempt, there were a total of 10 cultivators, 1 3-leaf, 5 2-leaf, and 4 1-leaf. 9 died in agony, and 1 survived. Say that again. In this attempt to sever the golden lotus, the last sentence, 1 survived. The muscles on Lu Yan's cheeks twitched, and his eyes showed excitement. The reason for doing this was to first verify if one could survive severing the golden lotus. After so many years of extensive research, he already knew that the golden lotus absorbed both energy and lifespan. Surviving the severing of the golden lotus meant that this problem had been solved. As the ruler of a nation, in control of the entire Great Flame, how could he not be excited upon hearing these words. For so many years, he had tried every possible method, exhausted all his efforts, whether it was regarding lifespan or various unorthodox methods, all of which had ended in failure without exception, to the point where he had become numb. Now, all his efforts had finally paid off, so of course, he was excited. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Felicitations, Your Majesty. This person is strong and robust, with good talent and foundation, which is why he survived. We have already ordered the imperial physicians to treat him, to ensure he survives at all costs. The other deceased will be compensated according to the same standards. If one can survive severing the golden lotus, what about sprouting leaves? The next step is for them to continue trying. Now that it's verified one can survive severing the golden lotus, we can increase the number of survivors on this point, whether through medicine or secret arts. After surviving, they can sprout leaves anew. When they reach the 9-leaf stage, even 10 underworld sects will be nothing to fear. Evil Sky Pavilion, East Pavilion. Someone from the foot of the mountain sent something up for you. A package. Seems to have a letter and some pastries. After all these years, none of his traitorous disciples had thought to make him some delicious pastries. It was only after the female disciples from the derived moon palace stayed on the mountain that things improved. Bring it up. Zhao Yu carefully pushed open the door, saw her master standing by the floor-to-ceiling window, and placed the letter and pastries from the package on the table. Lu Zhou turned and looked at the items on the table. When he saw the special paper of the booklet, he walked over with some surprise. Ding! Obtained Heavenly Book Unfolding, Part 2. Do you wish to combine the Heavenly Book Unfolding? Lu Zhou didn't rush to combine the Heavenly Writing, but instead put down the Heavenly Book Unfolding and looked at the fucha sandwiched cakes next to it. It turned out they were from his 6th disciple. Fucha sandwiched cakes were one of the pastries Yi Tianxin was best at making. When Yi Tianxin was still on the mountain, she often made these for her master. With this skill, Yi Tianxin had also obtained the emotional ring she coveted much earlier. He didn't expect that after so many years, Yi Tianxin still remembered this. However, the Ji Tian Dao of today was no longer the Ji Tian Dao of the past. Take them and share them among yourselves. These are from 6th junior sister to honor you. How could I dare? I have a poor appetite. Disciple thanks master. She thanked him on the surface, but her heart was worried for her master. Master's appetite is poor. It is said that this happens to people as they get older. Is the great limit truly approaching? There's also a letter. I know. Lu Zhou saw the letter in the package. To master, your disciple Yi Tianxin, entrusted by 2nd senior brother, has delivered the item to the Evil Sky Pavilion. 2nd senior brother is afflicted with a curse and, to break it, has severed his own golden lotus. He is now recuperating in the fragrant tomb, sprouting leaves anew. 2nd senior brother asked me to pass on the message that all is well. Your unfilial traitorous disciple, Yi Tianxin, pays her respects. Primal energy surged in her small hand, and the letter was instantly consumed by flames. So this proves that severing one's own golden lotus is a viable path. His stubborn personality was just like Yu Shanrong's when he was a child. No matter what he encountered, he always solved it himself, bearing it all alone in silence. Right now, the Righteous Alliance was organizing to besiege Golden Court Mountain, and he had wanted to convene the Elders' Council to discuss the matter of severing the Golden Lotus. On second thought, if this news got out, it would only be detrimental to the Evil Sky Pavilion. Moreover, there were still very few successful cases of severing the Golden Lotus, making them of little reference value. Since the theory has already spread throughout the world, he just had to wait for the results. Disciple Zhu Honghong pays his respects to master. Enter. Disciple has good news. In the past few days, I've managed to get a lot of information about the memory crystal from Mr. 7th. Tell me. He said he doesn't know the specific location of the crystal. It could be in the western frontier or the northern frontier. The memory crystal was sealed by you personally, so there's no way he would know. Continue. He also said that many things are not as we think they are. He's not afraid of being misunderstood, not afraid of shouldering so much, as he's used to it anyway. Why do I get the feeling that Mr. 7th treats us all like fools? So self-righteous, always acting as if no one in the world is as smart as him, and everyone else is an idiot, speaking ill of others behind their back. Go and receive your punishment. Disciple knows his mistake. Ding. Punished Zhu Honghong. Obtained 200 merit points. Reflection Cave. I've lost this game. My chess skills have always been crude. You flatter me. The world is like a game of chess, but sometimes, victory on the board cannot be achieved simply through life experience. Mr. 7th is exceedingly wise, proficient in zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Elder Hua lost, and even Elder Pan lost. The chess game is over. I wonder what the next competition will be. I want to keep watching. There will be no more competitions. The crowd looked at Siwuya with confusion. To meet a worthy opponent in chess and a brilliant talent in battle is a great fortune in life. Forgive my bluntness, but the contest between you and me is somewhat dull. Everyone looked ashamed. If they had won even one game against him, they would have retorted. But from morning till now, Siwuya had been winning continuously, defeating them all soundly. Whatever the winner says is right. Whatever the loser says sounds like an excuse. Are you very proud? Greetings, Pavilion Lord. Siwuya didn't expect his master to appear suddenly and quickly lowered his posture, bowing. You think you're very clever for beating them? Disciple wouldn't dare. Lu Zhou glanced at the props around them. There were puzzles like the 9-square grid and cloth whiskey, dice from gambling tables, and high-intelligence board games like Go. In this regard, how could the people of the evil Sky Pavilion possibly defeat Siwuya? When he took him in, Siwuya was a little rascal who frequented major casinos. By the age of 10, he was a child prodigy that all the major casinos kept at a distance. Siwuya's arrogance was completely different from Yu Shangrong's. Yu Shangrong's arrogance was bone deep, a kind of confidence and reverence for the way of the sword. Siwuya's arrogance was not only built on his own superiority but also on belittling others. How could such a disciple not need to be taught a lesson? You are very good at solving problems. I happen to be troubled by a few questions and would like to take this opportunity to ask for your guidance. Disciple knows his mistake. If you can answer my questions, I will honor you as my master. Siwuya's heart trembled. According to the old rhythm and routine, his master would have already started beating him up, with no time to waste on so-called problems. It is said that for those who have a state or a family, the concern is not scarcity but inequality. If I have only 8 weapons, how can I distribute them equally among you? Siwuya was stunned, not knowing how to answer. 8 weapons, how to divide them among 9 disciples, how to make it equal. If you break a weapon, is it still a weapon? If you kill one, is it still an equal division? Answer me. This question seemed intended only to stump Siwuya, but to the people around, it seemed to have a deeper meaning. Does he dare to answer? Would he rebel and become the master? All things in creation have an origin. What is the origin of this world? When this question was posed, Siwuya trembled all over. Answer me. Can this even be called a question? The few elders of the council shook their heads continuously. Not just Siwuya, but no one else could answer it either. Many years ago, someone in the Cultivator world did indeed raise such a question. However, the explanations were all ambiguous, universally applicable platitudes. From the very beginning of Confucian, Buddhist, and Taoist cultivation theories, there had been fierce debates over similar questions. If there were a real answer, there wouldn't be such great divergence. Can't you answer? Siwuya shook his head. Vague things might make others think I'm bullying you. He suddenly remembered the matter of severing the golden lotus. Is a truth revered by all necessarily correct? Galileo's experiment with 2 iron balls falling simultaneously challenged Aristotle's authority. Must the golden lotus necessarily exist? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Cultivators condense the golden lotus to enter the nascent divinity tribulation realm, then sprout leaves to enhance their cultivation. I ask you, which came first, the golden lotus or the leaf? Is this question difficult? It sounds quite simple. When a cultivator condenses the 100 tribulation insight, of course, the golden lotus must exist before leaves can sprout. Without a golden lotus, how can one sprout leaves? Naturally, the golden lotus comes first. If the method of severing the golden lotus succeeds, one could also have the leaf first, then the golden lotus. The problem is, so far, there have been no successes. Returning to the golden lotus cultivation method itself, could it be that it was flawed from the very beginning? In the past few days, the evil Sky Pavilion had also gathered some information from the outside world. So far, all who had severed their golden lotus had died. There was no need to answer the question, because the answer was obvious. He had already anticipated that they would think this way. If his second disciple, Yu Shangrong, hadn't succeeded in severing his golden lotus, he wouldn't have asked this question. He only needed to pose the question. In a while, when Yu Shangrong returns, that answer will be more powerful. Think it over carefully before answering my questions. A flying letter from Jian Aijian. Old Senior, the method of severing the golden lotus has reached the palace, and someone in the palace has summoned 100 golden lotus cultivators. 10 severed their golden lotus, and 1 survived. Old Senior, I feel like I am about to witness history. Ha ha. This was why Xiao Yu didn't want to read the flying letters. They always ended with an annoying ha ha ha. But when she finished reading this letter, everyone present stared at her blankly. 1 survived? So, the method of severing the golden lotus is viable? Leaf first, then lotus? In that case, one moment he was insisting his answer was correct. The next, someone had torn his answer to shreds right in front of him, like a slap to the face. This was far more uncomfortable than being physically punished. Lu Zhou glanced at Siwuya but didn't comment on the flying letter, turning to return to the East Pavilion, respectfully sending off master. The others glanced at Siwuya and left the back mountain one by one. Only Zhu Honghong remained, walking over to Siwuya's side. Mr. 7th, since you're back, can't you be a bit more low-key? How can I be low-key? These people are, after all, outsiders. As a disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion, I must not bring shame to the evil Sky Pavilion. That seems to make some sense. But you really couldn't answer Master's questions? They were just vague questions. It's normal not to have an answer. You should rest early. Mr. 7th, I shall take my leave. East Pavilion. It has been confirmed that severing the golden lotus is viable. The next step is to increase the survival rate. With the minds of the entire world working on it, a better method should be found. Collective effort is ultimately better than struggling alone. Disciple pays respects to Master. May Master live for 10,000 years. Disciple feels that Mr. 7th is not convinced. Not convinced? Even he couldn't answer the questions I just asked, let alone Siwuya. What is there for him to be unconvinced about? He said your questions were all vague, and it's normal not to be able to answer them. This traitorous disciple is indeed much harder to discipline than Yu Shangrong. I refuse to believe it. He suddenly remembered the fear of being dominated by mathematics. Lu Zhou casually waved his his hand, a sheet of Xian paper flew up, and he picked up a brush to compose a math problem. Take this to him. Disciple obeys. He suddenly remembered the information Zhu Honghong had obtained from Si Wuya. How could Si Wuya so easily let Zhu Honghong get information from him? The western and northern frontiers are so vast. Where would one even start to look for the memory crystal? What exactly was sealed? Ji Tiandao's secret to reaching the nine-leaf stage? Or something else? He summarized several aspects related to his memory loss. First, Ji Tiandao's system. This could be inferred from the seamless integration of the merit system at the very beginning of his transmigration. Second, the memories from the heavenly writing. The Empress Dowager in the palace using the heavenly writing to treat illnesses gave him this hint. Third, the information that Ji Tiandao wanted to kill Yu Shangrong, which Yu Shangrong himself had stated at the Cloud Illuminating Hermitage. Fourth, the memories before Ji Tiandao's death. The last point was debatable. When a person is on the verge of death, their brain may cease to function, resulting in memory loss. Or it could be dementia. Both are possible. To find the memory crystal, he really needed to properly discipline Si Wuya. Thinking of this, Lu Zhou cleared his mind off and picked up the last part of the heavenly book unfolding. Ding! A new heavenly book unfolding has been synthesized. Do you wish to comprehend it? As Lu Zhou silently consented, the fourth complete heavenly book unfolding transformed into specks of starlight and merged into his body. A faint blue light entered his mind, and he immediately felt a cool sensation filling his mind and all his meridians. Strange. After comprehending this heavenly book unfolding, it was completely different from the previous 3 times. He felt as if his body's meridians and functions had been nourished. He opened the system interface to take a look. Remaining lifespan, 12,754 days. An increase of 3,000 days? That's equivalent to the lifespan provided by 10 reversal cards. This reward was quite good. This was the first time he had obtained lifespan from a source other than item cards. This provided Lu Zhou with a very valuable clue. Even someone at their great lifespan limit could obtain more lifespan. In other words, the truth of the 1,000-year lifespan limit could be broken. He began to comprehend the new heavenly book unfolding. Following the previous pattern, one heavenly book unfolding unlocks one heavenly writing divine power. What would it be this time? Mr. Seventh. What is it? This is from Master. Si Wuya took the Xian paper and quickly scanned it. In a cage are pheasants and rabbits. There are 350 heads above and 940 feet below. How many pheasants and rabbits are there? Mr. Seventh. What's written on that thing? Si Wuya ignored him. His mind and attention were immediately captured by the problem, and he quickly became engrossed. The problem didn't seem difficult, but since it was from his master, he couldn't make it look too easy to solve, so he feigned difficulty. Seeing Si Wuya deep in thought, Zhu Honghong didn't dare to disturb him and waited on the side. He didn't know how long he waited, but eventually, he just sat on the ground and fell asleep. Eighth junior brother. Eighth junior brother? Here. Zhu Honghong startled awake and yawned. You should go back and rest. I'll give you the answer tomorrow morning. Zhu Honghong stretched, walked out of the reflection cave, and muttered, Is Mr. Seventh out of his mind? It's just a boring problem. Is it necessary to be so serious? Early the next morning, Lu Zhou slowly opened his eyes, feeling refreshed and indescribably comfortable. Perhaps it was the effect of the new heavenly book unfolding, which had brought a slightly greater change in Lu Zhou than before. His white hair now had a few more strands of black. Compared to when he first transmigrated, the change was significant, but compared to yesterday, it was minor. Ding. Disciplining Si Wuya has earned 200 merit points. It works like this too. Lu Zhou walked to his desk, once again picking up his brush and putting it to paper. Disciple pays respects to master. The difficult problem you set, Mr. Seventh couldn't solve all night, and he's so worried he has dark circles under his eyes. Judging from Ji Tiandao's memories, the development of mathematics in this world was indeed not very advanced, and it was unlikely they could solve problems using modern thinking. However, a problem like this shouldn't have stumped Si Wuya, so how could he not have solved it? But Lu Zhou was confident he could solve it. The difficulty of mathematics had to be increased gradually to make him truly convinced and realize the fearsomeness of mathematics. Take the problem on the desk to him. Disciple obeys. One paper had the answer to the previous problem, and the other had a new problem. Disciple understands. Zhu Honghong took the answer in the new problem, left the East Pavilion, and went to the reflection cave. This problem is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Greetings, Mr. Seventh. Did Master really come up with this problem? I saw Master write it with my own eyes. Unless I'm blind, Master doesn't look like a smart person. Ahem. Fortunately, after a whole night, I've solved the problem. Mr. Seventh is amazing. Barely passable. In fact, Si Wuya was not very satisfied with his solution. After all, the problem seemed very simple, yet it took him a whole night. The most foolish method, simply going to a farmer's house, gathering a bunch, and counting them directly would have been faster than his calculations. This is from Master for you. Si Wuya was a bit sluggish, but his spirits lifted as soon as he saw the new problem. 120 rabbits, 230 pheasants. Master knows the answer too. Master set the problem. Of course he knows the answer. Si Wuya looked at the second sheet of Xian paper. There is an unknown number of things. When counted by 3s, there is a remainder of 2. When counted by 5s, there is a remainder of 3. When counted by 7s, there is a remainder of 2. What is the number of things? After Si Wuya finished reading, Ding, all his fatigue and exhaustion vanished, and his spirits became even more. Mr. Seventh has really lost his mind, so what if you solve it? Zhu Honghong, with his potbelly, clasped his hands behind his back and left the reflection cave. Just as he stepped out, he saw Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng approaching. Greetings, Mr. Eighth. It's nothing, just came to see. I heard Mr. Seventh was solving a problem all night, and we got interested too. With this much time, you might as well be cultivating. Zhu Honghong tossed the paper he had taken out to the two of them. Thank you, Mr. Eighth. The problem instantly spread throughout the evil Sky Pavilion. Their forms of entertainment were scarce. Besides cultivation, their days consisted of eating, drinking, and sleeping, inevitably lacking in fun. With the sudden appearance of such a problem, everyone began to study it. Ding. Disciplining Siwuya. Reward 200 merit points. Ding. Disciplining Siwuya. Reward 200 merit points. This time it actually prompted twice, which was interesting. I need to come up with a few more problems to discipline this traitorous disciple, to let him know that there are always heavens beyond the heavens, and people beyond people. Disciple pays respects to master. Master, Mr. Seventh solved that problem yesterday, and his answer was the same as yours. That problem was just an appetizer. What was strange was that he still got merit points for disciplining him even after he solved it. What about the second problem? I think Mr. Seventh can solve it. Seeing him scratching his head and ears, he must be in quite a bit of pain. Take this to him. Disciple obeys. Mr. Seventh, the answer is here, and there's a third problem. Siwuya quickly took the answer and the new problem, compared them, and then exclaimed in admiration, truly brilliant. Zhu Honghong looked at the stone table in the reflection cave and saw that 2 chunks had been hammered off it. Mr. Seventh, did you do this? I got carried away for a moment. Mr. Seventh, stop solving problems. It's so boring. Get out. Zhu Honghong was stunned for a moment, then quickly said, I'm going. 23, 128, 233. I only calculated one. Master expressing it this way is unprecedented. A real eye-opener. The paper didn't just have the answer. It also had assumptions of unknown variables and so on. How could he not be shocked to see this? As for the third paper, after reading it, Siwuya was stunned for a long time. Only then did he understand that the first 2 problems were merely appetizers. The third paper had triangles, circles, and symbols that Siwuya could barely comprehend. This paper introduced more advanced geometry, not to mention someone like Siwuya who had never been exposed to such concepts. Even Lu Zhou before his transmigration would have had a headache seeing these problems. This was the fear that had dominated countless students. Ding. Disciplining Siwuya. Reward 200 merit points. The prompt appeared 3 times in a row, and Lu Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Even I get a headache looking at these problems, let alone you. The third paper included algebra and geometry, which, to a world lacking basic mathematical concepts, would look like a heavenly script to ordinary people. Siwuya is no ordinary person. After studying it for a while, he should be able to understand it, right? The others in the evil Sky Pavilion had already given up on the problem-solving game, because this state of prolonged frustration could easily torture a person to the point of misery. On the 3rd day, Siwuya stared at the problem on the paper, looking somewhat dazed, as if he had become much stupider. On the 4th day, he had already fallen into self-doubt. On the 5th day, Siwuya was still studying the problem on the paper. The more clearly he studied it, the more he discovered the difficulty of the problem. Lu Zhou's comprehension of the heavenly writing was also going smoothly, and the extraordinary power of the heavenly writing had long reached saturation. He just didn't know what this 4th heavenly writing divine power was. Since the divine power had been comprehended, the price of the item cards should also increase. He opened the item shop, and sure enough, all the cards had generally increased in price by 500 points. Master, Mr. Seventh wishes to see you. What is it? Mr. Seventh wants to ask for your guidance on how to solve the difficult problem on the paper. He would ask for guidance. I will relay your exact words. After Zhu Honghong left, Lu Zhou stroked his beard and glanced out the window. In the following days, Lu Zhou adopted a gradual increase in difficulty, raising the difficulty of the problems step by step. He didn't expect him to solve them. The goal was to make him understand the meaning of the problems. Learning is endless. The more Siwuya understood mathematics, the more he would realize its mysteries. Siwuya in the reflection cave was indeed as Lu Zhou had said. As his understanding of the problems deepened, he found them to be much more difficult than he had imagined. He was tormented to the point of looking like a madman, with disheveled hair, completely engrossed in a pile of papers. To think Mr. Seventh has become like this. How heartbreaking. Those problems are simply insane. Outrageous. Give it a rest. You can't even understand them. Just as Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng were about to leave the back mountain, a female disciple ran over. Princess Yongming's injuries have worsened. Someone has already gone to inform the pavilion lord. I came to notify Mr. Seventh. Siwuya, who usually ignored outside disturbances, appeared at the entrance of the reflection cave and asked, what's wrong with Yongming? Even if Siwuya were as numb and heartless as could be, he couldn't possibly stand by and watch her die. After all, Yongming had helped him a lot. If not love, there was at least a debt of gratitude. Mr. Seventh, this is what happened. Let me out. Pan Zhong and Zhou Jifeng were stunned. They didn't have the guts to let Siwuya leave the reflection cave. Mr. Seventh, it's not that we won't. It's, let me out. His expression made it clear that he had to leave the reflection cave. Siwuya had no cultivation cultivation and no weapon, so he certainly couldn't ignore the barrier of the reflection cave like Yu Shangrong could. Let him out. Duan Mushing, holding the Overlord's spear, hovered in the air, looking down at the reflection cave. As you command, Mr. Third. Si Weiyao walked out of the reflection cave and looked up at Duan Mushing in the sky. What surprised Si Weiyao was that Duan Mushing's presence was even more imposing than before. Thank you, third senior brother. It's not my place to say, but is it useful to spend all day studying that nonsensical stuff? Si Weiyao was speechless. He wanted to argue, but thinking of his third senior brother's fiery temper, he decided against it. I will remember third senior brother's teachings. Go see her one last time. One last time? Si Weiyao's heart skipped a beat. How could he not understand the meaning of these words? Not daring to dwell on it, he hurried towards the South Pavilion. Si Weiyao arrived at the South Pavilion. When little Yuaner saw Si Weiyao approaching, she immediately went up to him. Mr. 7, Sister Yongning is dying. Don't worry, the three elders are already looking at her. Little junior sister, don't talk nonsense. Si Weiyao looked at the closed door and was about to enter. Ah, the door opened. How is she? An astral blade pierced her, damaging her internal organs. Prepare for the funeral. Yongning was very clever. She knew that even if she didn't come out, Wu Bing or Xiang Wei would definitely drag her out as a hostage. She voluntarily stepped forward to stall Xiang Wei, buying Si Weiyao time to think of a countermeasure. Because of this, Si Weiyao successfully ambushed Xiang Wei. In order not to become a burden to Si Weiyao, Yongning chose to end her own life. Sometimes he thought she was very foolish, naively so. Wouldn't it have been fine to stay in the palace and enjoy a life of comfort? Why did she have to get involved in the disputes of the cultivator world? The door opened again. Elder Pan, how is the situation? I've transferred half of my primal energy, but I can't heal the wounds inside her body. Judging from the angle of the wound, she probably had it planned all along, not to die immediately, but also to be unsavable. She would rather endure prolonged suffering just to keep her eyes open and see this world one last time. Old Pan, don't scare people. Is there really no hope at all? Do I look like the type of person who lies? Mr. 7th, go beg Master. He will definitely have a way to save Sister Yongning, let alone the Pavilion Lord himself. Even if an 8-leaf Buddhist master came, they wouldn't be able to save her. What do you mean by that? What Pan Lydian and Elder Hua said is reasonable. The astral blade this girl used is somewhat peculiar. It seems to have been poisoned, corroding her internal organs. It's hard to detect at first, but once it truly erupts, it's too late to save her. Buddhism has 3 healing techniques: Qi Hang Universal Salvation, Clear Mirror Platform, and the Buddha's Light Shines. None of these 3 methods can cure this girl. Is there no other way? You are the 7th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, resourceful and intelligent. A smart person should understand what we're saying. If you don't believe us, go in and see for yourself. The others shook their heads helplessly. The disciples of the Evil Sky Pavilion were quite fond of Yongning. How could they bear to watch Yongning? Si Weiyao's eyelids twitched a few times. I say Master can do it, so he can. Go beg Master quickly. It's better to ask the Pavilion Lord to try. Although the hope is slim, it's still worth a shot. That makes sense. The Pavilion Lord had Qi Hang Universal Salvation. Isn't the Pavilion Lord he? After all, the Pavilion Lord was old. Wasting primal energy to save a little girl he barely knew might even put himself at risk. For someone whose great limit was approaching, every bit of primal energy was precious. Such clamor. What has become of this place? Greetings, Pavilion Lord. The South Pavilion is a place of importance. How can a traitor be allowed inside? Si Weiyao was terrified and quickly knelt down. Disciple begs Master to save her. I am willing to accept any punishment. No one else could interfere in his affairs, nor could they, so they could only watch from the side. I was the one who let him out. Master, Princess Yongning has been gracious to him, and I didn't think much of it. I just wanted them to have a farewell. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and nodded, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. Si Weiyao's face was very pale. He didn't expect to be tormented to such an extent by math problems. What is the situation? Hua Wudao, Leng Luo, and Pan Lydian each reported their diagnoses to Lu Zhou. He currently had 2 desperate healing cards and 2 enhanced desperate healing cards, so it shouldn't be a big problem. However, it's not that I will save her just because you ask. Are you begging me? Disciple implores Master to act. Even if there is only a sliver of hope, her life must be saved. Give me a reason to save her. Lu Zhou's words not only stunned Si Weiyao, but also everyone else present. Out of our master-disciple relationship, helping you resolve the siege of Liang State was already the height of benevolence. What's more, you betrayed the sect and still treat me with this attitude. If I don't have some authority, where will I put my old face in the future? What will it take for Master to act? Lu Zhou didn't answer his question immediately but walked towards the room where Princess Yongning was. It's too early to say. The 3 elders all said there is no hope of saving her. If that's truly the case, then your begging is meaningless. Princess Yongning's face was pale, and her lips were chapped. What virtues do you possess to have earned such devotion from this young lady? Looking at Princess Yongning with her eyes tightly closed on the bed, Si Weiyao felt a growing tightness in his chest. Things always turned out unexpectedly. Within the palace walls, many things were beyond one's control. Recalling how Princess Yongning had disregarded everything, even her own life and death for his sake, how could he possibly remain indifferent? Master was right. What virtues did he possess to have someone die for him? Lu Zhou came to the bedside and checked her pulse. Just as the 3 elders had said, the astral blade had already damaged her her internal organs, and the accumulated injuries had suddenly worsened, leading to today's outcome. She can still be saved. Siwuya's heart leaped with joy, and he was about to kneel and beg. The memory crystal. Do you really not know where it is? Western frontier or northern frontier? From the moment I returned to the evil sky pavilion, every word I have spoken is the truth. If there is a single lie, may I be struck by lightning. The memory crystal was sealed by himself, so it was indeed unlikely that anyone would easily know where it was placed. The plan was very thorough. In the Battle of Lian State, if Yu Zhenghai had been present, the underworld sect would surely have won. I'm very curious, why wasn't Yu Zhenghai there? According to the initial plan, first senior brother should indeed have appeared in Lian State. I considered the variables and left a way out. Xiang Lai was one of the variables. As long as nothing happens to first senior brother, it's only a matter of time before the underworld sect is victorious. Do you think Yu Zhenghai has the ability to take the divine capital? There's no need to take the divine capital. Are you that confident? Lu Yan is a fatuous ruler and should be attacked by all. Since his ascension, Lu Yan has never held court, neglecting state affairs and secretly researching the secrets of longevity and the nine-leaf stage. He is the true mastermind behind the disappearance of the white citizen people of the Crossing the Sky River. It is recorded in ancient texts that riding the yellow can grant 2,000 years of life. To find the riding the yellow, Lu Yan went on a killing spree, washing Fish Dragon Village in blood. After this, he spent 10 consecutive years salvaging corpses from the river in search of the riding the yellow. To find the secret of the nine-leaf stage, he did not hesitate to replicate the 10 absolute array in multiple cities, killing cultivators for experiments. The Black Cavalry's massacre of Upper Prime City was at his behest. Lin Luo was once a Black Cavalry. He can be confronted about this. The 30,000 commoners' corpses floating in the Nine Bends River. Enough. Siwuya simply wanted to say how cruel, heartless, and incompetent Lu Yan was. Do you want to be a great hero who changes the world? I don't have such grand ambitions. That's first senior brother's idea. I just want to figure one thing out. What is that? I want to find out why the Great Flame Imperial family has been able to stand for so long. I want to know what secrets the Great Flame Imperial family is deliberately hiding. Lu Zhou frowned again. He had thought Siwuya would say something related to Yu Zhenghai or the memory crystal. He hadn't expected Siwuya's focus to be on the Imperial family all along. Was this the reason he entered the Imperial Palace and became the Grand Tutor? Logically, it seemed very plausible. Why would Siwuya have such a strange idea? Just an 8-leaf and the 10 absolute array are far from enough. If you don't believe me, I can order the people in the dark net to deliver the core intelligence files. Even if you figure it out, what's the use? Cough, cough. Princess Yongning suddenly coughed violently. I beg Master to act. In this entire world, I am the only one who can save her. With a single lift of his palm, a desperate healing card appeared in his hand. A tide of energy, like willow catkins, fell upon Princess Yongning's body. Qi Hang Universal Salvation. Back in Liang State City, Master was able to use a 100-meter-tall golden Buddha statue, so it was normal for him to be able to use these healing techniques. He suddenly remembered what he had said to his first senior brother. At that time, he wasn't sure. He increasingly felt that Master might have really found a way to break the great limit. Otherwise, how could he, on the verge of his limit, have eliminated Xiang Lai with a single palm strike of abandoned saintliness, forsake wisdom? And how could he have slain Kong Xian with one move at the Ronin sacred altar? Watching the energy continuously nourishing Yongning before his eyes was truly astonishing. The desperate healing card has a 30% healing effect. This one card should be enough to keep her from dying, and the rest can be healed slowly through recuperation. Princess Yongning coughed violently again while her eyes were still closed, and blood appeared at the corner of her mouth. Lu Zhou felt something was strange, leaned down, and checked her pulse again, a faint stream of primal energy entering Princess Yongning's internal organs. In the South Pavilion, everyone was also waiting on their feet. There was nothing else they could do to help. Xiao Yu, in particular, was pacing back and forth. Fifth senior sister, you should stop and rest. It's not good to tire yourself out. Mind your own business. So it's minding my own business. I remember seeing Princess Yongning in the palace. She had a good temper and was kind to others. How did she become a pawn for others to use? Once you enter the palace walls, how can you remain untainted? You also stayed in the palace for a year. Weren't you almost drawn into Molly's conflicts? What Elder Hua says is right. One can only say that the heavens are blind. Is there really no other way? The hope is too slim. Once it penetrates the internal organs, it's no longer something that can be solved by high cultivation. If it were a cultivator with transcendent medical skills, perhaps they could keep her alive for a little longer. It's rare that you and I agree so completely. Even the 3 elders of the council were so certain. How could anyone else dare to have an opinion? In other words, Yongning was certain to die. Sister Yongning is so beautiful. She definitely won't die. The 3 elders didn't bother arguing with the little girl. If beauty could be exchanged for life, wouldn't I have been invincible in my youth? Even Master can't do anything. Healing and killing are 2 completely different things. It's like this brick. While Wu Dao raised a palm, and a nearby brick flew into his hand, surrounded by forceful energy, shattering into dust. Just as the dust scattered, while Wu Dao used an astral seal to envelop the surroundings, controlling all the dust to float and reform into the shape of a brick. This spectacular scene amazed the crowd. Such control was at the pinnacle pinnacle of mastery. At that moment, everyone seemed to understand Hua Wudao's meaning. Once a brick is shattered, even with extremely high cultivation, it is almost impossible to completely restore it to its original state. Precise control can only maintain its shape. Hua Wudao clenched his fist, and all the dust fell to the ground. Do you understand? Thank you for the lesson. Lin Luo and Pan Litian didn't even watch Hua Wudao's display. After the three elders' explanation, the crowd was like a deflated ball, dejected and listless. Lu Zhou once again channeled his primal energy into Princess Yongming's body. The desperate healing card from just now had indeed healed 30% of her injuries, but strangely, within her body, that forceful energy began to spread again, starting to corrode the already recovered internal organs. What a strange forceful energy. This can't be. I just boasted. Am I about to eat my words? If it can't be healed all at once, then this forceful energy will eventually spread again and corrode her internal organs. This means that even the enhanced desperate healing card would be useless. Where can I find a 100% desperate healing card now? Master, Siwia called out strangely, seeing his master lost in thought. Lu Zhou flipped his palm, and Yongning sat up. He only had cultivation at the Divine Court realm, which was useless to keep, so he decided to first use all his primal energy to suppress her injuries and think of a solution later. With this thought, Lu Zhou pushed his palm to transfer primal energy. The primal energy flowed like a stream into her meridians. With the supplement of primal energy, Princess Yongming's complexion improved slightly. It was at this moment that he suddenly felt the peculiar power within Yongming's internal organs rush towards his primal energy, as if it wouldn't allow any other primal energy to enter. The power of a talisman seal, the Celestial Master's sect. The Battle of Liang State was too chaotic, so he didn't get a clear look at how Yongming used her astral blade. He hadn't expected Yongming to be using a talisman seal from the Celestial Master's sect. A Divine Court realm cultivation was ultimately insufficient to deal with talisman seals. His primal energy was quickly depleted. Just as he was about to retract his palm, the power of the talisman seal actually came back at him through her meridians. Lu Zhou instinctively mobilized the extraordinary power of the heavenly writing, and the golden light instantly turned into a faint blue light. To be able to go to all lands in the 10 directions without moving from the fundamental reality, benefiting all sentient beings. This is called the divine power of supreme wisdom that extinguishes Dharma. Heavenly writing divine power. Blue lotuses bloomed from his palms, blossoming brilliantly and erupting with vigorous life force between them. The power of the talisman seal was instantly destroyed by the blue lotuses. Immediately after, the blue lotuses submerged into Yongming's body. What's happening? Look at that flower pot. In the main hall of the South Pavilion, a withered flower in a pot began to grow vigorously at that very moment. A phantom-like blue lotus radiated outwards at a visible speed, as if taking root in the South Pavilion and spreading to the surroundings, sprouting leaves and blooming. Could one achieve such a magical scene with profound cultivation? The three elders of the council were filled with incomprehension and shock. Whether it was the Buddhist Chi Hang Universal Salvation, clear mirror platform, the Buddha's light shines, or the Taoist sitting in oblivion and nurturing life, the speed of growth was too fast. It was like witnessing the blooming of an ephemeral flower. Everyone looked at the room where Princess Yongming was. A faint sense of vitality wafted out, like a spring breeze. Siwia was surprised, but his brows were furrowed together. He had repeatedly suspected that his master had broken the lifespan limit. From all aspects of his performance and the intelligence he had gathered before returning to the Evil Sky Pavilion, all signs pointed to the possibility that master had truly broken through the lifespan limit. The truth was just a thin veil away, yet no one dared to admit it, because admitting it often meant denying a fundamental truth. Siwia's thoughts fell into a struggle. The spring breeze-like energy disappeared. Everyone's gaze fell on the previously blooming flower pots. The flowers faced the sun, bright and beautiful. Did any of you see a faint blue lotus leaf? It seemed to float out of the room and then disappeared. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me. So, there really was a blue lotus leaf, but it felt very comfortable, like waking up from a dream. Quick, quick, hit me hard. Ouch, you really hit me. If you make any more noise, I'll smash your mouths in. Little Yuaner turned back and glared at them. The two immediately quieted down and looked at the closed door. Inside the room, everything had returned to normal as well. Lu Zhou's Divine Court realm primal energy was completely gone, but only about a quarter of the heavenly writing's extraordinary power was used. Princess Yongming's complexion seemed to have improved a lot, becoming somewhat rosy. After the power of the talisman seal was destroyed, was it effective? It shouldn't have gotten better so quickly, right? He had also witnessed the scene just now. A huge, faint blue lotus appeared, expanded from small to large, and then instantly disappeared. The fourth heavenly writing divine power. Lu Zhou laid Princess Yongming flat and checked her pulse again. The talisman seal power in her body had indeed disappeared, and the corrosive force had been completely cleared. She's healed just like that? Lu Zhou found it a bit hard to believe. He slowly stood up, and after confirming there were no other major issues, he walked out the door with his hands behind his back. As he walked out, Lu Zhou saw the varied expressions on everyone's faces, their eyes filled with doubt and surprise. Why do they all look like that? Have they all been driven mad by my math problems? He thought this to himself, but said nothing, and stepped over the threshold with his hands behind his back. After a period of rest, rest, she will fully recover. Upon hearing this, Siwuya's heart stirred, and he ran into the room. The three elders had already given their verdict that it was almost impossible to cure Princess Yongning, and any treatment would only be to prolong her time. What did "after a period of rest, she will fully recover" mean? The implication was that she was cured, and all that was left was to recuperate. Princess Yongning's complexion had already become somewhat rosy. Siwuya's cultivation was bound, so he couldn't check her. "Let me take a look." Pan Litian rolled up his sleeves and probed with his energy from a distance, which landed on Yongning's body. The crowd looked at Pan Litian, waiting for his examination results. "How is this possible? Old Pan, how is the situation? How is this possible? How could this be?" Lin Luo stepped forward and similarly raised a palm to probe with his energy. As the energy landed, he wore a silver mask, so no one could see his expression. He took a step back and said in a hoarse voice, "Strange." Hua Wudao couldn't resist either and checked her in the same way. The status of the three elders in the evil sky pavilion was self-evident, and their words had always carried weight. The crowd looked at the three elders, awaiting their response. "Elder, how is she?" "Well, I suddenly remembered I have something to attend to." Pan Litian walked out briskly, disappearing in a flash, covering 30 meters in a single step. Everyone was bewildered. He just ran off like that, without any of the airs of an elder. Thick-skinned indeed. Lin Luo shook his head and walked outside with his hands behind his back. He had always been eccentric and unsociable, so no one else dared to stop him, and they just watched as Lin Luo walked out of the room without a word and soon disappeared. The crowd could only look at Hua Wudao, learning from the others' mistakes. Just as he was about to turn and leave, the others formed a line and blocked his way. "How is she, Elder Hua?" "She's fine now." Hearing this, Siwuya felt a great sense of relief. "Elder Hua, didn't you say she couldn't be cured?" "Did I? I don't think I said that." Hua Wudao shamelessly walked out, and this time no one stopped him. Meanwhile, Lu Zhou did not return to the East Pavilion. He went to a patch of forest in the back mountain and found a withered tree. Recalling the scene from before, he raised his hand. A miniature blue lotus instantly appeared in his palm, blooming with a faint blue light. He deliberately suppressed the burst of extraordinary power, releasing it bit by bit. Immediately after, the withered tree began to rejuvenate at a visible rate, sprouting new buds. He used very little extraordinary power, just enough to make it bud and grow a little before it quickly stopped. This fourth heavenly writing divine power was a means of healing, of a sort, but it felt more potent and life-giving than mere healing. East Pavilion. On the ancient sheepskin map, all of the 9 provinces had now materialized. The southwestern estate, the map of all 9 provinces of the Great Flame, was now displayed before him. Could this be a hint that the next heavenly book unfolding is scattered across the 9 provinces? The 9 provinces are vast and sprawling. Without a good flying chariot or a mount like Whitesword, crossing them would be as difficult as ascending to heaven. Even with Yu Shangrong's level of cultivation, it took him a long time to reach Sorcerer Salt Mountain by flying on his sword. The other parts of the ancient sheepskin map were still a blank white. However, based on geographical location, one could infer that to the west was the western frontier, and to the north was the northern frontier. Those were places inhabited by foreign tribes. There were still many blank areas. What places were these? Even Ji Tiandao had only been to the western frontier and the northern frontier. He had spent most of his time in the Great Flame and knew little about what lay beyond the western frontier and northern frontier. He suddenly remembered what Siwuya had said. This child's disposition was unstable. "Someone, Master, what are your orders?" "Send a flying letter to Ming Shirin. Tell him to investigate the dark net." "I understand." Little Yuan turned and disappeared. Meanwhile, at the Principled Forest School, in front of the child's grotto, numerous disciples of the Principled Forest School bowed towards the entrance in unison, their voices thundering in unison, respectfully welcoming the ancestral master out of seclusion. An old man with white hair walked out of the child's grotto. "I already know about Chang Jian's matter. Ancestral master, the evil sky pavilion is truly going too far. The sword demon Yu Shangrong over the natural chasm and killed the sect leader. Not only that, but throughout the cultivator world, the great elder of the celestial masters sect, the great elder of the Cross Canal Academy, the abbess of the wish-fulfilling nunnery, and others were all killed by Yu Shangrong. If the evil sky pavilion is not eliminated, the cultivator world will never know peace." This disciple had no choice but to respectfully welcome the ancestor out of seclusion. "The evil sky pavilion? Old demon Ji is not dead yet?" Xiao Jinhan quickly recounted the current situation to Chang Xing, especially mentioning the rumor that Yu Shangrong was severely injured by Shang Yuanshan, and the fact that the upper half of the evil sky pavilion's mountain had withered. "Old demon Ji's great limit has been reached. How can his cultivation remain at its peak?" Reporting to the ancestral master, old demon Ji has been maintaining his state by absorbing the power of Golden Court Mountain's barrier. Now, the barrier's power has completely vanished. The 7 great sects of the righteous path have already formed a demon-slaying alliance. As long as preparations are sufficient, it will be the best opportunity to besiege Golden Court Mountain. I have heard that the 10 great sects failed twice in their siege of Golden Court Mountain. Ancestral master, the first 2 times were miscalculations. The righteous alliance has been planning for a long time. Whether our Principled Forest School can establish itself in the cultivator world depends on this time. Seeing the ancestor unmoved, Xiao Jinhan added, "Are we just going to let the sect leader's death go unavenged? A life for a life has been the principle since ancient times. Regardless of past rights and wrongs, the cultivator world has its own rules of operation. The strong survive, the weak perish, is also an eternal truth. However, what can he do? My cultivation has already dropped to the two-leaf nascent divinity tribulation realm. The many disciples of the evil sky pavilion are extremely talented. How can we deal with them? Ancestor, please look. A disciple came forward carrying something, and one small bottle after another appeared before them. What is this? Demonic origin elixir. Demonic origin elixir, a forbidden drug in the cultivator world. Taking this medicine would cause one's cultivation to surge to its peak state in a short period. But the consequences were also terrible. Once taken, those with a weak will would lose their sanity to the drug and go on a killing spree. After the effect wore off, they would fall into extreme weakness, and their cultivation might even drop significantly. The side effects were very obvious. How dare you? This was clearly asking him to go to his death. Xiao Jinhan immediately fell to his knees. Ancestral Master, there was no other choice. This disciple is willing to accept any punishment. For the sake of all the disciples of the academy, please act. Chang Xing's old face twitched a few times, his emotions complicated. Logically, his great limit was not far off. The remaining time should be spent recuperating in the child's grotto. Then, with a grand funeral, this life would return to dust, and everything should be over. But Chang Jian's death left him restless. Death was inevitable. How could Chang Xing not understand Xiao Jinhan's meaning? Since his great limit was approaching, he might as well benefit the academy's disciples before he died. In fact, when he learned of Chang Jian's death, he had already had this idea. However, he just never had the courage to make the decision. Looking at his kneeling disciples, he was torn. Enough. I will consider the matter of besieging the evil sky pavilion. It's a must. The principled forest school, after all, cannot compare to the major sects. Please rest assured, Ancestral Master, the demon-slaying alliance has already prepared some preliminary plans to ensure victory in the siege. The principled forest school only needs to cooperate. By then, the Ancestral Master might not even need to use the demonic origin elixir. Chang Xing glanced at Xiao Jinhan, said nothing, and returned to the grotto with a flick of his sleeve, respectfully sending off the Ancestral Master. First, Senior Brother, should we tell the Ancestral Master about severing the Golden Lotus? If we are to tell him, it must be after we eliminate the evil sky pavilion. The Ancestral Master's great limit is approaching. Severing his Golden Lotus would be no different from suicide. For the principled forest school to have come this far, we have to resort to some unconventional means. All disciples of the principled forest school are forbidden from severing their Golden Lotus without authorization. Whether we can establish ourselves in the cultivator world depends on this. Night fell, and the evil sky pavilion was quiet. I really can't figure out how the pavilion lord did it. That astral blade contained a heavy talismanic power. Even an expert from the Celestial Masters sect would have difficulty clearing it. If even Elder Pan can't figure it out, then I understand even less. I have repeatedly confirmed Princess Yongning's meridians. The destroyed ones have all been miraculously repaired. I, Lang, may be younger than the pavilion lord, but I have seen a fair bit. Such a peculiar healing method is unheard of. Weren't you injured back then, and you still managed to survive after self-destructing? Both of you, how much cultivation do you think the pavilion lord is hiding? On the surface, the pavilion lord only has the cultivation of the divine court manifesting Dao realm, but in reality, he should still be at the peak of the 8-leaf stage. The pavilion lord is indeed unfathomable. However, I was wondering, is it possible that the pavilion lord has already entered the 9-leaf stage? Lin Luo and Elder Hua had long had this thought. The question was, if the pavilion lord was at the 9-leaf stage, why would he go to such great lengths to feign a divine court realm cultivation instead of sweeping away the forces coveting the evil sky pavilion? Why would he instead allow those forces to grow and organize some demon-slaying alliance? Unlikely, since the pavilion lord took the initiative to publicize the cultivation method of severing the Golden Lotus. It shows that he too has a desire for the 9-leaf stage. That makes sense. How do you explain the matter with Princess Yongning? Even if I, Lang, knew, I wouldn't tell you. Elder Hua, don't be afraid. Although I'm older than you, in this vast evil sky pavilion, you two are the only ones I can talk to. Hua Wudao was taken aback. Why did those words sound a bit creepy? I have other matters to attend to. Hua Yuexing is about to break through to the 3-leaf stage. I'll stand guard for her. Old Hua, could she be a mistake you made in your youth? In an instant, only Pan Litian was left on the rock. If only I were 200 years younger. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound from below. What little thief is there? Such speed. Where do you think you're going? Pan Litian threw the gourd in his hand, which shot down the mountain like lightning. However, the old are always wiser. When he reached the foot of the mountain, Pan Litian stopped and did not pursue further. Trying to lure the tiger out of the mountains? How could I fall for that? Senior, why not come down for a chat? Who are you? This junior is Feng Lu, from the Sky Shaking Academy. Feng Lu? Pan Litian didn't recognize such a minor figure. This is Golden Court Mountain, the evil sky pavilion. I advise you to leave quickly. If you are caught by the disciples of the evil sky pavilion, you will have to bear the consequences. My master is Feng Qinghe, the head of the Sky Shaking Academy. He has had the pleasure of meeting you several times. You are Feng Qinghe's disciple? What do you want with me? Make it quick. My time is very precious. He had wanted to speak from the perspective perspective of righteous cause, and also mentioned the destruction of the Clarity sect by Yu Zhenghai. After all, Yu Zhenghai was also a disciple of the evil Sky Pavilion, so Pan Lydian was in the den of his enemy, but he didn't expect Pan Lydian to not give him a chance at all. Senior, the righteous demon-slaying alliance has been formed. The evil Sky Pavilion will be destroyed sooner or later. Senior is as formidable as ever. Your cultivation is indeed recovering, but it's a pity your internal injuries are severe. He hadn't expected Feng Qinghe's disciple to have such a high level of cultivation. You sought me out to drive a wedge between me and the evil Sky Pavilion? The demonic path is rampant. Everyone has the right to punish them. Yu Zhenghai is ravaging the 9 provinces, and the people are destitute. Senior, shut your mouth. Since that's the case, then please honor your promise. Senior, you haven't forgotten that my master helped you leave the Clarity sect safely back then, have you? To be honest, Feng Ping is my brother. He encountered old demon Ji in Lian State, lost all his cultivation, and is now a cripple. This junior's request is not high. Of the 9 disciples of the evil Sky Pavilion, you can pick any one and cripple him. The matter between you and my master will be settled. How about it? What does the matter between me and Feng Qinghe have to do with the evil Sky Pavilion? Are you saying you won't honor the deal? Senior, a junior like you is not qualified to speak with me. Take me to see Feng Qinghe. Senior, with your status and position, you could pick any of the 7 great sects and be at least an elder. Why insist on joining the evil Sky Pavilion? Because I want to. Although old demon Ji's cultivation is terrifying, he ultimately cannot resist fate. What's more, at his age, the severing the lotus cultivation method is not suitable for him. You know about severing the lotus too? The method of severing the lotus has spread throughout the entire cultivator world. Who doesn't know? If I were you, I would lie low and research the method of severing the lotus. When you reach the 9-leaf stage, sweeping away the evil Sky Pavilion would be as easy as turning over your hand, wouldn't it? Time waits for no one. The 9-leaf stage takes too long. The evil Sky Pavilion has so many treasures and techniques. Which sect doesn't covet them? That hit the nail on the head. The driving force behind everything was simply profit. There was no so-called demonic or righteous path. If it were truly just to eliminate the Pavilion Lord, the 10 great sects would only need to wait patiently for 10 years. Why would they need to fight the evil Sky Pavilion to the death? The root of all disputes and conflicts in the world is nothing more than the word profit. Thus, being the first to strike was extremely important. Senior, why not join the Sky Shaking Academy now? My master said that as long as you join the Sky Shaking Academy, the position of Chief Elder will be yours. Do you not understand my words? I don't understand. You'll understand when you see Feng Qinghe. I'm afraid you won't be able to see my master. A trap? This junior had no other choice. I wanted to persuade you to turn back, but since you are unwilling, then you shall be buried here. I thought Feng Qinghe could distinguish right from wrong. I never would have thought. Pan Lydian picked up his wine gourd and took a big swig. With the demonic path, there is no need for righteousness. This junior has said all that needs to be said. You are no longer in your peak state. If you surrender now, you might be able to leave a complete corpse. I am severely injured. You are right. I am indeed no longer in my peak state. Even so, I am not someone you lot can humiliate. The gourd burst forth with a dazzling golden light, spinning outwards. More than 10 cultivators were immediately struck by the golden gourd, sent flying backwards, and spat out blood, drunkenly toppling the cosmos. What do you think of this move of mine? Good cultivation. Archers, ready. From a distance, several archers shot streams of arrow-like forceful energy. Pan Lydian threw his golden gourd again, which circled his body and blocked all the forceful energy arrows, drunkenly pillowing the rivers and mountains. Pan Lydian suddenly flew horizontally through the air. He left the area of the forceful energy arrows at lightning speed, and the gourd smashed towards 2 nearby cultivators. 10 directions universe avatar. It's been a long time since I've had such a satisfying fight. If this is all Feng Qinghe has, I'm afraid you will be disappointed. This is just the beginning. Pan Lydian, in the very center, felt pressure from all sides. He suppressed the turmoil in his chest and steadily controlled his old injuries. Drunkenly lying on the battlefield, he landed like a giant rock, and with a boom, his feet stomped the ground. After evading the attack, he threw the golden gourd in his hand. The speed of the golden gourd reached its limit, forming a golden circle of light in the air. More than 10 cultivators retreated simultaneously. So strong. Isn't he injured? How can he be so strong? This shows that the demon-slaying alliance's plan was not wrong. In any case, he must die. Archers, don't stop. Dozens of forceful energy arrows pierced through the air. Pan Lydian's entire body erupted with forceful energy. Bang, bang. The forceful energy arrows dissipated. Pan Lydian's gaze fell on Feng Lu, and he flew towards him. First, senior brother, fall back. The surrounding cultivators simultaneously clapped their hands together, forming character seals. Instantly, the sky was filled with character seals. The Confucian righteous astral seals. The Confucian righteous astral seal is also a type of righteous forceful energy, but it condenses chi into seals, forming character-like imprints. It is essentially the same as the Taoist talisman seals, except that Taoist talisman seals rely more on brush and ink to draw the seals. These character seals flew all over the sky, forming a cohesive unit with great regularity, and swooped down towards Pan Lydian. At this moment, Feng Lu flew in horizontally with his sword. Righteous sword astral. Pan Lydian clapped his hands together. Catch the sword.